I was like trying to fucking find it. I was like, ah, yeah.
Restart. No, you
There's
don't
no
need it.
restarting now. I have no idea where it is at this point. This is so crazy. I don't know where anything is.
All
My
right.
life
Well,
is a
we're live.
shambles.
We've
Yep,
been
we're
live for
live.
20 seconds.
We are here.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? We are the Frequency Project, talking about things, sending out vibrations,
Stuff.
creating a frequency that maybe you're feeling, maybe you're not. Hopefully you are.
Hold on, let me reset. I can do the intro.
Oh, okay. We're gonna reset. Just
Better
keep.
late than never. Here we
Okay.
go.
Whatever. Play it. Yeah, look at that guy. He's like there meditating, and then boom, he goes into the wormhole.
That's right. That's where we're at now. We're
That's
in the
you're
hole.
you're in the wormhole with us. That's why all these frequencies are going. Um, yeah. So today we it seems to be like a hot topic: transhumanism, um, AI. All these things are coming out and
Yo,
becoming
I gotta say, it's going so fast. Like
so fast
we, like that Chat GPT just came out what like 6 months ago, and
to
now
the public.
there's all these like apps and websites and stuff. They just like dumped it all, and it's if you have a small business or something, it's gonna change your life and make your life way more efficient if you know how to use it. If you're not scared of it, if you're don't want to, if you're scared to let go of some employees, you know.
Listen, I think we're at this point that is like, like when people were making fun of like Galileo because he made the telescope and was looking at stars, and or was that Kepler? I don't know. Like flat Earth theory. Like every time there's something new, people always get scared first,
Mm.
and I wonder if that's necessary.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife about Aaliyah, and we were talking about this exact same thing last night. And she's like, "You're using AI?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Did she get mad?
a little bit." I mean, she doesn't know a lot about it, but she's just
Yeah,
all she hears is like, "AI is going to take over the world" and shit like that.
yeah. That's what
But
Melissa was like too.
do you remember? And I know you remember because we were probably roommates around this time, right around early 2000s, late 90s into like between 99 and like 2005, right? That's the time what is it, that the like the internet boom, right? And then you got like iTunes and like all these social media things, and everybody was just like shitting their pants because this is going to change the world and the computers are going to take over. It was the same shit,
Yeah.
right? But the computers just made life more efficient. And yes, maybe people lost their jobs to some sort of robotics or some computer something, but then they got new skills and everybody shifted. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay if you're working at a one Instagram or Facebook right now, and you're sitting around doing these dumb repetitive things that like a fuck that AI can do, you better go get some new skills because there's no point in keeping you. And if you've known that you do a job that you're like, you're not really doing much at work, unfortunately, you should probably look for some new skills. I went down this like deep dark path, but like it's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to lose jobs, but a lot of new jobs will be made. And I think
Right.
that's just that's the name of the game. Like, if we want, I think the epitome of Western civilization is convenience. Like everybody wants convenience. I mean, if you're ordering from Amazon, you're using AI every day. You want convenience in your life. You want things fast. You want things quick. You want it how you want it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're using Uber, if you're using, um, what else? Friggin' DoorDash, Uber Eats, like all these things are using parts of AI, and people probably don't even know that they are interfacing and using it. There's companies that have been able to make successful companies because of the condensing of technology to create something that is extremely convenient for the end user or the client or the customer. And I think in the long run, using AI is probably going to be better. And yes, people will do bad things. People always do bad things. But at the end of the day, what's this? This podcast is about energy, and energy is everything. So if we focus our energy in it being this terrible, awful thing as a whole, as a society, as a world, then we're going to manifest a terrible, awful thing.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, we, nature, this is my whole thing. This is what, like, I had a dream the other night, and I've always had this dream where I'm living in this like jungle in a hut, but the hut is like super technological. Like there's buttons and like lights everywhere, and like the bed goes back into the wall, and like even the sink goes back into the wall, and then it's like nothing. It's like nothing when you go in, but then you like touch something, the bed comes out, and then it goes away. A couch comes out. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And I feel like that's where AI could take us. That's where convenience can take us. But then this hut is still surrounded by nature, and it's beautiful.
Mm.
And when we think about the smartest thing, like everybody is focused and fixated on this idea that AI is going to destroy us and that machines are going to destroy us because they're going to find out that they're smarter than us or whatever. Yes, maybe that's true. Maybe machines will be inherently like quicker thinking, faster at mental processes. But we're not just a mental being. We're
Yeah.
we're a physical, we're a mind, body, spirit being. We have three things in one, and there's no way that AI will ever be that. And when you really look at nature, almost every invention that is out there that has changed the world looks at nature to engineer it. Nature is already the smartest thing, the
Right.
most intelligent thing, and we still don't fully understand nature.
Nature has millions of years on AI, right?
Totally.
Of evolution, right?
Right.
Like, think about it. Like, just even in your family, you are adapting as the generations go on. Like, something that your great grandfather may have struggled with is like nothing to you now, because it's like built into your DNA, and mentally you just like can figure it out faster. It's we are AI, but way beyond. It's going to take AI literally a million years to even try to catch up to where we are right now. And then by then we'll still be a million years ahead. It's like, so I don't know.
Well, right now, like ChatGPT and Bard, they're calling them language systems. So they basically are able to analyze words, language, how we speak, how we talk, how we write in different formats, and then spit out all the information from all the words that are on the internet in a way that we can understand it. It's a language system. It's nothing more than that right now,
Yeah.
as far as we know.
Yeah. Also,
I'm
by
sure.
the way, it's not always right either. Like, people are taking like Chat GPT, and like, did you hear about the story about the lawyer who used Chat GPT to do all the research for a case that he was doing? Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't, but
Yeah.
it sounds
And
like
he
someone
didn't
would do.
proofread any of the shit. And Chat GPT actually made up fake cases. And
That didn't exist.
he even asked the Chat GPT if they existed, and he had to go down multiple paths to get to the true answer, which was these were not actual real cases. So it's really just like scraping the internet, and
Correct.
somebody could have put up like some fake case for some classroom or something, and then the thing just picks it up as truth,
Right.
So that's just something to be aware of when you're dealing with this stuff, especially at this point right now. It's so early on, but
Well, and something, one of my friends, Ellis, he's super, super smart. And we were talking about this over Turkish coffee, as you do. And he
well, get some
said,
Turkish coffee out in Winter Park.
no, it's actually here in Maitland.
Oh, they have Turkish coffee over there
Yeah.
too.
And I don't,
Huh?
I don't drink coffee. So
Yeah,
it was like,
that gets you
it
going. That.
was a treat. Yeah, we were going. But he was saying that AI is no smarter than the person inputting the information. And that really like was a light bulb for me because it's like you're still a person that has to type something in, right?
Right.
Like how you type it in, what you ask for, how you phrase it is how it answers.
Right.
So, like, you can ask, like, the difference between, say, like using where, how, why, like all of those to start a question generate a completely different answer. Like, where is Anchorage? How can I get to Anchorage?
Mhm.
Like, who is Anchorage? Like all of these, if you
Yeah, the little details of like
so
just whatever the way that you write it.
right,
I mean, it's just like human to human contact. Like if I'm talking and you may perceive something differently than the next person, and I might have said the exact same thing, but the maybe either my tone or the way that you grew up and how you perceive it. So like the AI may perceive it in a different way as well, but languages you gotta. I think in the future you might have to be a little cautious of how you say things to it, maybe because it could take it out of context, and do something that you don't want it to do.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think how I've been interfacing with it is just asking questions and giving commands in different ways to get a different answer around the same topic.
Mm,
So, like, I'll just kind of see how it interacts, how it answers. And, like, I don't take anything as gospel. I'm going to read it and I'm still going to research it. Just like, when I'm listening to the news or any information that comes my way, I try and be discerning as much as possible, to if I'm going to then say it to you as a fact or a truth, you know, that I'll have done my research. So, like you said, even with ChatGPT, it's coming up with fake cases when lawyers are putting in information. Um, you know, you can't take it as gospel. Just like when you search something in Google, you still scroll through and look at the different things that popped up, for that thing that you searched.
right. But then, see, Google also is manipulated because there's somebody inputting and putting restrictions, or a company, Google, of what you can see and what you cannot see.
Correct.
So, you know what I'm saying? So it's about the humans doing that. It's not
Right.
about Google as a shitty thing. Google is amazing, but it's the people behind it, that really make it.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we're heading in a direction, and I believe that we are. I mean, that's pretty much the reason why we started this podcast, is we feel that the future is like love and giving and energy and like caring for each other and doing the right thing, and you know in that positive direction. And I see more and more like podcasts and TV shows and just people in general. I mean, even like Elon Musk, like he bought Twitter for whatever, $44 billion to have freedom of speech in America. You know, we need more of that shit. And I think we're heading in that direction. So
I
yes,
agree.
there is going to be some bad actors for sure moving forward. There always is. There always will be. There always has been. There always will be. It's like, so people, I think the media makes, like, focuses in on that like 0.00001% that are bad characters making, and they blow it up, and it makes it seem as though the majority of people, or actions are evil or going to hurt you or something. And it's all based on fear, that they're just injecting fear into your mind, you know?
100%. I would also say it's a vibration. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that vibration that the news is giving off constantly. It's constantly focusing on the fear and the violence and all of the bad things that humans do. And by doing that, people then resonate with that, and
Mm.
then they perpetuate that fear and that vibration. So the only way to really think differently is to think for yourself, do the research on your own, and try chat gpt, go and try these AI things, see how you interface with it, see how it makes you feel. Like, I think the more good people we have interfacing with AI, then if
Mm.
there's an influence of that, then that robot, that language gets trained in that way. And like at the end of the day, I truly believe the smartest thing on the planet is nature, is the universe, is the laws of nature,
Mm.
how everything so smartly works all together symbiotically. And an AI machine, if it can start learning that kind of knowledge and that kind of information, we go into that direction, and we could start inventing new ways of building. We could start inventing new things based off of the technology and the
Right.
inherent information that is within nature.
Good. You're right. Good people need to embrace the technology, so that way there's more good people utilizing it and putting out that good energy.
I agree.
Um, uh, I mean, so getting to the positive side of AI currently, I would say it's making like small businesses extremely efficient with a minimal amount of people. And if you have an idea, like it's getting like more and more. I thought about this last night. It's getting more and more the world, so that when you have some sort of idea, it's easier and easier to make that idea come to fruition if you understand the technology and how to utilize it properly in your behalf.
It's a
It's
resource.
Yeah, I mean, with our podcast, it's just me and you, and we are starting to utilize AI more and more, literally every week. Um, and all those clips you see, all that stuff, it's not 100% AI generated, but there's AI that goes into it that helps us do that tedious work.
Well,
We
let's
just
let's correct AI generated to AI editing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's
it's not like
basically, yeah, it's doing the job of like an editor or somebody that's like scrolling through the video and finding clip. We haven't actually, we're talking about this live right now, but we haven't really decided on whether we're going to go down that road with this specific software yet. But David's utilized it, and he thinks it's just as good as any human going through it and sitting there for a couple hours and finding these clips. So if we can utilize that, then we're going to do that, because the
Yep.
real goal here is for me and David to do what we love doing, and that's just hanging out and talking about this shit, you know? And if we can focus more time on that and then putting out more content for you guys, then all the other stuff, which we're not really into, but you just do it out of necessity, which is probably the same thing with any small business you can think of. There's all kinds of tasks in small businesses that, like, the owners don't want to fucking do it when they start up that first couple of years, but they have to because they know the process to get it done. So if you can instead outsource those tedious tasks that just have to be done, then why the fuck not? Right?
Dude, I'm with you 100%. I mean, you have to, when you say AI, I think a lot of people are just, it's like this generalized term that is not
They think of like movies and shit. That's what it is. The movies have injected the fear years ago, Terminator, all this other shit, you know?
right, right. If they're thinking of like a robot walking around
Right.
controlling, what you do and is going to kill you and shoot you down and then turn off your credit cards and your electric car, and eh, that's the vision that they're trying to give us, when
Mm.
actuality, like for instance, we put out this long play live that's an hour plus sometimes, and I want to go and create small clips out of it. So what I did to create the first like 20 is went and rewatched that full hour and went through and trimmed out the seconds that I liked, and then made a clip out of it, put some music to it, like it's a whole editing process, which
Mhm.
I enjoy doing because I'm a creative person. But at the end of the day, if the object is for us to use most of our energy doing the lives as opposed to hours and hours and hours of editing, I could run it through an AI video clip editor. It goes through, it scans all the words that we say, and then it references it with the viral videos that are on the internet, and then suggests 10 clips from that long play video to suggest to me that could work on the internet as a viral video or something that could be of interest or value to people.
Right.
And I have to say, it happens in maybe 15, 20 minutes as opposed to me sitting for a week and spending 9 hours. So,
Yeah, and we could never, even if we did do all the work, we could never scan the internet and figure out what is the trending thing that day that is like getting like what are the hashtags. There's so much behind the scenes stuff that goes on with a
right.
podcast or promoting anything, right? And
Right. When you think of what's most important. So you started saying that we love to do this. This is what we want to do, and that's a passion project. You and I are trying to talk about things that are going on in a way that is about frequency and energy and vibration, because it's shit that excites us, and I think a lot of people are interested in energy and in that topic. So the more that we can focus on that and the less on the tedious part, why
mm,
not do it? And I don't think it's hurting anybody. It's only putting more and more valuable content out to people, because not everybody can sit and watch the long play 2 hours that where we sit and talk like this. People are more apt to get the 15-second, maybe minute clip that goes through their newsfeed that maybe has some value or a point of interest to them, and that's what we're trying to do. So that's a very specific example of how we're using AI. There's so many more things that I think are going to make processes and systems faster. It's not so much what you see on television, a robot coming and tracking you down. That could be a place that we end up going to, but we're not there yet. So let's not focus on that, and let's focus on the good shit right now.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, let's get more positive minded, open minded people that are going to like move this AI technology in the proper direction, you know? Like, people shouldn't be scared of this. It may take your job, but I can guarantee if you are somebody that is motivated and maybe has a family and like is gonna do whatever it takes, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna do something. And right now is the time to start looking into that because this is happening fast. And
100%.
I mean, by the end of this year, there's going to be a lot of jobs lost, unfortunately. The commercial real estate market is shitting the bed right now, and that's because businesses are going out of business. Why are businesses going out of business? There's a whole chain reaction of shit that started with the COVID thing, but that's a whole other side of this. But it is what it is. It's happening. So like, it's like adapt or just doing this. you know I don't like you got to think about where all those what happened to all those people where a computer took over their job. Where did those people just disappear and die, or did they adapt and like figure things out and like moved on and got a different type of job, you know? That's what we have to do right now. It happened, it happens all the time. Don't be scared, embrace it, be a part of it, and help move it in the right direction.
Well, and let's put it this way too. Like, imagine how many jobs were lost when the calculator came out.
Right.
Like, let
Go ahead.
alone the
The
computer
fucking
or the
printing
internet.
press. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
all kinds of shit. Like it's like every like 10 years something comes along, you know? And some things bigger than others and people start shitting their pants, but life goes on and it's not the end of the world, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also, I think this is a good opportunity. You know, you're talking about people losing their jobs. If you think that you're going to be one of those people, now is the best time to find out what excites you,
Mm,
what your passion is in life, and try and follow that trail to maybe lead you to a job that is more fulfilling. Because
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse than like going to like a restaurant or a coffee shop and you're getting served by somebody who hates being there and they don't want to be there.
They're
I
just doing it for the
guarantee.
money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see there's so many people. I think the statistic now is like 60% of Americans hate their job.
Wow.
That's more than half. So, and that's statistically of what people are willing to report online. There's probably maybe even more people out there that hate what they do. So, if you hate what you do, and AI you think maybe taking your job, then maybe this is the best time to figure out who you are, what you love to do,
Mm,
what excites you the most. Follow that passion, and it will lead you to something that will give you money. You know, if that's your goal.
right.
I mean, everybody.
I truly do think that like every person has some sort of passion, right? And I think that AI can help you because it's like I said, it's making the world so much more easier to create whatever you want, you know, but you have to be open to it and dive in and utilize it. But I'll tell you what, like most things like when the computer came around, it was like, oh, it's this big learning curve of like how do you use a computer and all this other stuff, right? So I understand that, you know, it's like training and stuff. They had courses, right? AI is almost literally the complete opposite. It's like you just gotta find the people or companies that have already created the software to do the thing, and then you literally spend some time up front setting it up to do exactly what you want it to do, and then you hit enter. And then you go on doing the more important fucking things for your business, right?
Right.
It's that it's just the upfront commitment, but it's not much of a really learning curve, really. It's like you read the whatever it's the website, it tells you what to do, you input your information on what you want it to do, and the end. And especially if you're like really passionate about something, you know you already have all the information to put in, you know?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
so
I
don't
had
be
it
scared.
right. I had it write a business plan for me. I had it write a song. I had it. Uh, I, I just I've been playing with it just for fun, just because it's fascinating. 'Cause it's like what you can put in there, and then what it gives you back. And so, you know, like we going back to the lawyer, it giving you false information. You're still. It's up to you what you do with that information, right?
Mhm.
You're inputting the information. The information comes back, and then you can reorganize it, restructure it. It's just a jump off point that's giving you a lot more than starting from scratch. And I think that, you know, it's going to fast track small businesses. It's going to fast track creative projects. It's going to take away some jobs. And at the end of the day, like you said, if you are trying to figure out what your passion is, it could probably help you with that too.
Right.
You
You
go
could
on and
literally
start.
type it in there. You can literally type that in there. What do you like doing? You type in all the things you like doing, and then say, what do you think my passion is? It'll fucking tell you.
Yeah, totally. It's like talking to a genius, and it gives you answers at
Yeah.
any time. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So give it a try. And not only ChatGPT, there's all kinds of other softwares out there. There's ones that will literally write your resume for you. So you just input the data of like the things that you've done, and it
Good for
structures it. And so nobody has any excuses anymore, is what I'm saying. It's like you
Yeah.
can literally do this while you are like sleeping in your bed.
Yeah, you could write a whole business plan on a
Yeah.
subway ride, on an hour subway ride.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust the whole business plan. You definitely have to read through it after it's done, but yes.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
But a
just
lot
like
of these,
anything,
yeah,
but the most tedious part of like doing documents or writing shit is the
the time.
formatting, right?
Yeah.
The little Roman numerals and then the one and then the little a and then like you could take that and work from there as opposed to just starting from scratch and
Right.
typing everything. It's the same thing. It's like before fucking calculators, people were doing long division math on a piece of paper with a pencil that you had to go and sharpen on the wall. Like
Yeah.
all of this time now we're able to save, I believe, is going to explode into the human expression of creativity in every single way,
For
in
sure, because
every
we can
sector.
spend more time on the things that we love, right?
That's the goal, right?
Like fuck all this like tedious, stupid work. Like it's really not about the money. It's about, I mean, like we're not making any money, but we do this every day because we fucking love it, and we know that everything is going according to plan. We have a plan, we have a goal, right? So we just keep it going, we just keep it moving, and we make it more and more efficient so we can just continue to do more and more of the stuff that we love. That's it. It's just,
Amen.
yeah. It's I guess like for some though, maybe like for some people, maybe in their like 60s or something, or maybe before they retire, maybe they're worried that they're like maybe 55, still working. They still got a few more years left at their job. They could lose their job soon. I feel you. I feel you. Like you got some catching up to do on like, but it's not really that hard. You can literally like just Google AI softwares for whatever you're looking for, or business AI business softwares or something like that, and it'll pop up. And while your job is still in existence, you can take some time at nighttime instead of maybe not watch an hour of TV and go look into your future.
Listen, my
Sorry, I
dad
didn't
is
mean to like shit on anybody, because like, I watch.
dude, you're going dark today.
I know, I know, I know, I
It's
know.
our My dad is 71 years old, and I told him about it, and he's already put a bunch of stuff in there that is like blowing his mind. And I think if anything, this is much easier to use than most technology.
Right, then like learn how to use a computer,
Yeah,
right? It's like
it's
way
not.
easier.
Yeah, it's a completely different kind of thing, and I think it's just a matter of going back to what Ellis said, that it's up to the person that's inputting the data to get the result back. You got to put in the right things to get back the answer that you're looking for. Or if you're trying to cut work, put in the correct, formula to get the answer that you want,
Mm,
to get you faster to the end result, as opposed to a lot of the tedious steps that it takes to get it done in the first place.
yeah. Yeah, so definitely get on it as soon as you can. In fact, like David and I are actually probably a little late to the game. I mean, in the big picture, we're super early, but there are already people. You can literally go on Instagram and just like search AI, and there are people posting videos of different softwares and how to like game the system of like making money utilizing AI to do the work and stuff like that. That's all over the place. It's a crazy. it's when you really start talking about it and thinking about it and like looking into it, it's like it's amazing. It's not scary at all.
Yeah.
It's helpful. Um, who knows where it's going to go in the future? But don't worry about that.
Yeah,
Fucking
like
take care of your shit. Do what
yeah,
you love.
I so I put some money in a CD, right? And it's at like 4.7%, or yeah, 4.7%.
Hmm.
So I was like, I asked ChatGPT, I was like, if I put X amount of dollars into a CD for 12 months with this APY, what is going to be my return at the end of 12 months? And it was like, and it gave me the answer in 3 seconds. Like, I couldn't have done that math on my own. I would have had to call the bank, be on hold with India, maybe get an answer. Maybe it will be a robot on the phone that's going to
Yeah.
say, hold please, and wait 6 hours.
But you still call the bank anyway, though.
Well, yeah, this was a
He
whole
was on
different thing.
hold with the bank for like a half hour before the show.
This is a different thing because I did a balance transfer from one account to another and they lost the money. And
Oh
I'm like,
shit!
we're in 2023. How do you? They're like, oh, well, this bank writes a check. So they wrote a check and they sent it in the mail. And so we had to double check the address and all of that. I'm calling both, both accounts. Everything was correct. It literally just poof. They just couldn't find it, didn't know. But the thing about this whole, well, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to go there.
Okay, okay.
I don't even want to go there.
But yeah, I mean that banks are actually dinosaurs, really. We don't. I mean, there's another thing to look into too. Is like the blockchain, Bitcoin technology, how well that works. That's a whole other amazing new thing. See, that was probably the last thing that came out, right? That was like, oh my god, this is gonna change the world, right? But it's been
Nobody's
fun.
talking about it. Nobody's talking about the blockchain.
I think it's going to start coming up more and more. I mean, the
It
United
has to.
States is talking about doing a digital currency. China's already done it. But look at China though, right? We talked about this the other day. They got once you see these are things that you can do as a citizen, as an American citizen to prevent AI from fucking you over in the future. Don't have a digital currency that is run by the Federal Reserve. How about that one? Right? If you do that, then they will utilize AI to shut off your fucking bank account and do all this other shit, right?
Yep, that's the wrong direction for
Yeah.
sure.
So we
We've
stop
been trying to
that.
shut the Fed down forever, but
Yeah. Keep the money system. The money system the way it is already fucking broken and it sucks. But we cannot go into a digital currency that is controlled by our federal government. I mean, not our federal government, the Federal Reserve.
right.
Well,
Which is a
that's
private entity that people don't even understand.
right.
It's actually a private entity owned by the banks, not by the government at all or your tax
It's not
dollars.
federal at all. Yes,
Yeah.
and if you're really interested in that, read the book, "The Creature from Jekyll Island."
Oh
It'll
yeah.
tell you all about it. That's a mind blower.
Or just ask ChatGPT to give you
Or
the
just
cliff notes.
well, I wonder what ChatGPT would say about that.
It would probably say, "I haven't read the full book."
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah,
you have to go to another GPT to get that.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. I mean, how do you think, besides our podcast and how we're utilizing AI, how do you think that relates to um, energy and frequencies and how the Healy can maybe, I don't know, we can try to go down that road, connect the dots maybe.
Yeah,
It definitely does.
listen. Let me just drop a. You want me to drop some truth about what I really think, and then just say it.
Yeah, every fucking time we talk, you should be doing that.
Well, I mean, sometimes I censor myself. I don't want to hurt people's feelings, and I don't want to come in without. I don't know. Anyway,
Just say it.
eh,
I'm not your wife. I don't tell you to read the room.
well, how about this? Don't mistake your bad decisions for a flawed human body. Like, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of your body, and you start to show signs of degradation, and the further that you move away from nature, I think the worse off that humanity is going to get. So you're talking about Healy frequencies, vibrations, our body, like our body as a biological entity, like I said earlier, is the most smartest, well invented, created, evolved machine that we've ever seen, that we still don't even understand it. We don't understand where our consciousness is. We don't understand where the brain is actually, what the brain is actually doing, because we
Mm.
thought, all our thoughts were actually in our brain. They're starting to say now that they don't even think that that's true. So like we don't even know what we are capable of and what we have the power to do with a healthy, well, what's the word of
Well
like
kept.
well kept body. Yes. And so like going back to what I was saying, like I feel like everyone's like some of the people that are all about putting the chip in their body and transhumanism and becoming the machine. I'm like, you're already a machine, just take care of it.
Mm.
Like stop taking pills, stop drinking fluoridated water, stop eating junk food, stop the awful input that you're putting in your body, because your body is going to break down. And so I feel like a lot of people that are excited about transhumanism are just lazy. That's my real thought. I know it's awful, but it's like they're wanting a quick fix. Everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody, like I said, going back to what we were talking about earlier, is convenience. Western civilization is so about convenience that they're willing to, have things done to their body already that I would say go against the laws of nature. Our
Mm.
bodies are already inherently so intelligent, so smart, and if given the proper input, food, water, exercise, fresh air, it's going to work for you for a long time. I mean, I remember the first time walking into yoga class, seeing an ex Marine who was 70 plus years standing on his head and thinking I'm in my 20s that I'll never be able to do that.
Mm.
And I'm like, there's so much more about the human body that I have no idea about when I'm looking at this. Because what we see on TV, once you hit a certain age, I hear people my age that are like, oh, I'm just old, I'm just breaking down. I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you doing to your body? Like,
Well,
so
like culture, I mean, just everybody in general, if you're, what am I trying to say?
did I just go
It,
dark? Did I
no,
just go
no,
dark?
no, no. There's, you're right. There is a large community of people in the world that, if I'm like not feeling or whatever, I just turned 40 and I feel all this stuff going on with my body, which is true, right? Things do happen, but if you prepare for it and adapt and then take care of yourself in different ways, every like 10 years you got to like start shifting and adapting in a different way, right? Physically. But there's a lot of people out there that if they're better physically than their neighbor or the person, there's so many people that are at that physical and even mental level of just being okay with aches and pains and not being able to walk a mile or whatever it is, that it's easy to relate to those people, and as long as you're just a little bit better than them, then you're okay, because there's so many people that are at this age that don't are just like me, and that's just how it is. But that's not how it is.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
how
we have an
it's how
ever
the
increase.
world is making it seem to be, because of
Right.
all these like chemicals and drugs and all this other stuff, and everybody's doing it all at the same time. I mean, I'm curious that like the majority of the population of the world took this vaccine, right? And then slowly you're starting to see like these like really athletic soccer players, basketball players, whatever, just like pass out and die on the courts, right? Um, what about just the normal person? You know, they're not um, ex, ex, what's the word? They're not exhilarating their body as much as like that's probably the wrong word, but
Oh, I know what you're saying. Like they're not using their body.
exasperating their body. You know, they're not like pushing themselves like a high
Athlete.
tuned physical athlete. But like, at what point is like the regular mom that just took the vaccine a couple of years ago? When is it that going to catch up to them? If it's catching up to these like people that are like physically the most physically fit people in the world, like it's gonna catch up to you at some point. And if everybody did it, then it's just gonna be normal that everybody's maybe dying when they're like 70 or something instead of 100. I just
Yeah,
went
I
down
don't know
like
if
a
it's
conspiracy rabbit hole
yeah.
there, but
I don't know if it's just the vaccine. I just think statistically, if you inject anything into your body, some people are going to die, and some people will show no side effects at all. So
mm.
I think that's just a product of maybe just regular
Well, I
statistics.
think maybe that's a bad example. I'm just trying to think of like common things that like a majority of the population of Earth do on a regular basis as far as like diet or like
Well, let's talk
their
about
health.
eating junk food. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's
the
probably the
the, ob-
simplest one, right?
the obesity rate
I
is
went right to the top conspiracy theory.
yeah. I mean, let's just talk about this facts. Facts are facts. Like the obesity rate is over 50% right now. We've got people dying of heart disease and obesity and diabetes, and all three of those are diet related.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there could be a case in an argument for genetics, maybe there, but for the most part, all three of those are a product of how we treat our body, how we treat ourselves, what we think we're worth, and what we're doing to ourselves to get that end result of an increasing rate of these three diseases that are way worse than anything that we have at the moment, even cancer. I think cancer is maybe 5 or 6 on the list
Mm.
of the number one causes of death in Western
It's
societies.
heart disease, I think, right? It's number
I,
one.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's heart disease first, or we could ask Chat GPT that. But I'm just saying that if if your argument for transhumanism is your flawed and your bad decisions of how you treat your body, that to me is not an argument that would stand in a conversation with me. Like
Mm.
I think that we are smarter than that. We have the capability of all the information at our fingertips at this point. And if we choose to not do what's right for us, and you've got all these problems and health problems, I don't think that that's an argument to put a chip in your body to make it all better. It's kind of it to me. The chip now is becoming the new pill, right? Like
Mm.
before, it was okay to take all the pills. We're realizing taking pills is not the answer.
Yeah.
Putting a chip in the body is not going to be the answer either.
Yeah. That how you were talking about like Western society and convenience and stuff. There are a handful of things that you cannot give to convenience, right? One of them is your health. The other one is your freedom, right? And I don't know; these are off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a few more. But you can't. You have to be responsible for protecting those things on your own. Like, because there's people out there, like we said, there's always going to be bad actors. There's a few of them. There's a lot of them in the health industry right now. And all they care about is taking your money, and they don't care whether you die or not. You care. You are always going to care about anything to do with yourself, physically, mentally, or whatever. There is nobody that's going to care more than you. So if a government or a company or whatever acts as if they care about your physical being more than you do, it's a lie. They don't, right? And then they're just pumping something out there to get you to fucking give them money or purchase their product or whatever it is. And they don't care whether it actually helps you or not. They make it seem as though it's going to help you, but there's always some other repercussions. There's always some other side effects. The real path to health is hard work, and that's it. Period. Done. You just make the hard work become normal work. That is just life. It is life. Like if you see all these people out there being healthy and working out and looking good or whatever, eating healthy, they did a lot of fucking work to do that. Years, all the time. It's a lifestyle. That's how it fucking is for them. And if you want that, then that's the mentality that you have to have too. Otherwise, keep taking the pills, keep giving your money to these people, and they don't care about you. The end.
Well, and that path of hard work comes in many different forms, right? There's a lot of things that you can do for your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and your spiritual well-being, and all three of those things you have to put that hard work and effort into it. It could be yoga, it could be journal writing, it could be lifting weights, it could be running, it could be swimming, it could be riding a bike, it could be buying a $12 resistance band from Walmart and sitting in a little square in your room and doing some squats and bicep curls. It could be
that hard work is different for everyone, right? It's
right.
like it's the amount of effort, and especially if you're just getting started. Yeah, like it's anything, any kind of incremental stuff.
It could be
I
the
was
Healy.
right. I was listening to Jordan Peterson. I'm going to hack this up, but they were talking about building a brick wall, and then it's all about your mentality, right? So like, there's two guys, right? They're both building this like million brick, maybe either a building or a wall or whatever, right? And one guy is thinking, he's putting the bricks down and he's thinking, we're never gonna fucking finish this job. It's just gonna fucking go on forever. Like this is gonna take forever with the two of us, right? The other guy is thinking, this wall is going to help defend my great grandchildren from an attack or something like that. Whatever the big picture of like the purpose for building that thing, right? And it's a brick by brick, right? And it's your mentality. The guy that's thinking about his great grandchildren and protecting them, he will do that till he dies because there's purpose behind it, right? The other guy is just doing it for a job, and he is going to hate his life and everything. So like, it relating this back to your health or whatever, it's up to you to change your mentality and decide, do I think of my health as a brick wall that I'm building and I'm chipping away and I'm doing the little I'm going to start today and do this little exercise because the big picture is me being healthy and strong for my kids, my grandkids, and just setting a good example, or whatever your motivation is for being healthy, right? Or are you the guy that is just feeling like, oh, everybody's telling me I'm like out of shape and I'm always getting sick and whatever, so I'm just gonna like whatever, just to shut them up, I'll like do whatever, and or I don't know, whatever the negative aspect of that is, right? Of like trying to chip away. That person is going to give up at some point, right? He's just going to be like, it's not worth it. I'm going back to doing nothing because that's easier, right? Is this all your mindset? How are you going to define yourself and where you want to be in life, and just stick to, like, keep that picture. It's the motivator. Have purpose. Now I just went in the other direction of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good analogy.
Yeah, I mean, even my wife Aaliyah, over the years, like, she's always been in good shape, right? But when she was in her 20s and 30s, and now we're 40s, she's had a kid, all this other stuff, and it's like, all right, we're older parents, so in my head, I'm like, there is no other way of thinking. My daughter's 3 years old. when she's 20 something, I'm going to be 60 something, right? And so on and so on. So like if I want to enjoy life with my kid when they're an adult and do like fun trips and whatever, I need to stay healthy now because it's going to move forward into when I get older. And that's what I'm trying to like talk to my wife about, and she's totally down for it and she's into it, but it's like, taking some conversations, and it's like, what what more motivation do you need to stay healthy? You know,
Right.
I don't know. I don't, me personally, I don't know what else, but people
Right.
have kids and they just like, oh, it's too hard or whatever. It's not, it's a, if you, it's, it's not about you, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm going on this rant, but just kind of like think
Well,
talking right now.
what are some of those things that you do to lay those bricks for that
Yeah,
wall?
it's working out, going to the gym, staying active, and I don't do it as much as I should. I go probably 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. I used to go more when I was younger. I had more time. I didn't have kids, and I wasn't married. All this other stuff, but those are all still excuses. Like I'm making excuses. I can fucking go at 8 o'clock at night if I really wanted to, but I don't. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing things and I can continuously get better. My bar is a little bit, maybe, I wouldn't say higher, but it's like I've set my own bar pretty high because I've been working out since I was like 16. So working out is just like life. And so anyways, there's that, and then there's um obviously the Healy. I run the Healy pretty much every day, multiple programs. At nighttime, I run every single night. And man, and remember I was telling you about this experiment with my daughter about running the aura scan and stuff.
Yeah.
If I didn't run the aura scan last night, and she came in this morning. First off, she always wakes up earlier if I don't run the aura scan. Then she she came into our room today, and she gets we have these like organic like bars and stuff that she eats in the morning, so it buys us some time before we have to like make breakfast, because she gets up fucking like 6, 7 in the morning. And so she brought that in, and she knows that she's not supposed to eat that in bed, so she usually just eats it and then climbs in bed and just hangs out with us for a little bit, right? Not today. I told her, I said, hey, you know the rule, you can't just eat that and then come into bed. And she flipped out. But every day I run that aura scan, she's just like, oh, okay. She just eats it and comes in.
Expl-
It's not a big deal.
Explain what that is and what you're doing.
Yeah, so the aura scan is actually, we can pull it up right now because we got technology.
Let's get personal.
Okay, hold on. Let me put it up here. So the aura scan is a program on. Uh-oh. Lost it here. Lost the connection. Great.
What had happened?
Technology sometimes fails us.
Just explain it. Explain it
Yeah. Okay.
without.
Sorry. All right. So, anyways, the aura scan it scans your chakras, and it tells you where each chakra is, um, by percentage of like how how energized those chakras are. There's 7 chakras,
Like
right?
0 to 100% for each chakra. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes beyond that too. It Through the aura scan, that's where it starts. The Healy starts becoming like a therapeutic, mental device where it can help you sort through mental problems. Because it actually scans and then it gives you information about your history and even the present feeling of like maybe you're feeling like anxiety or something, or maybe it's an undertone of anxiety. You don't even know it, right? Uh, it will go. Let's just do it. I got it back up. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm the worst at explaining things. So. Okay. So we're going to go down here. We're going to click Aura Scan.
Step
There's
into
me.
my office.
Yeah. And boom, scanning. So this, when you're about to do this scan, I actually almost do like a quick little meditation, and I'm almost like trying to like align my chakras just mentally, right?
Right.
While this process is happening. So then that quickly, and then it's literally giving you these what do you call these? Um, what would you call these?
What do you
Data
mean?
points.
Well, it's it after it analyzed your 7 chakras, then it focuses on the 3 that are the lowest, and then it's going to tell you why it's the lowest.
Well, it actually shows you all of them, right? So
Oh, it depends on how you have your settings. Yeah.
yeah. So, but it always the top one is usually the most
Relevant.
prevalent. Um, the numbers again. If you click on here, if you click on that 7, that's the intensity, and it'll if it's a higher number, it's the intensity is more obvious. They call it, they say it's an intensity, but it's the thing that sticks out the most. It's more obvious. So if you're at like a 10 or a 9 and you read that paragraph, you're going to understand where it came from very clearly, right? So I'm at a 7, and then the 77 percentage is the relevance in your life, I guess, right? Relevance represents the priority and urgency of the topic. The higher the relevance, the greater the importance for the moment of analysis in the information field. So how relative is it to your life right now, right? So this is 77% relative and a 7 um, intensity. So I should be able to understand this pretty clearly. The woman is living a male sexuality, missing contact with her female expression of eroticism. You know, I gotta say, I've gotten some of these, and this was the worst example of an aura scan that I could be doing live for you right now.
Well, I don't know. Like, okay, the sacral chakra, if we're going to really get into this, like the sacral chakra is the second chakra. So it has to do with creativity and it has to do with sexuality. It's
Hmm.
saying that the desired state is that I live my feminine sexuality and I'm connected with my feminine expression of eroticism. So there's a lot packed in there because a lot of people they associate feminine particularly with a gender, and
This is really just talking about like the yin and yang of the
yeah, it's just
universe.
energy,
Yeah.
just feminine and masculine energy, and maybe it's just saying that you got to get a little more woman-like in your sexuality there, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a little bit more I shouldn't say womanly, get a little more feminine, bring the feminine or the divine energy into your erotic fantasies. That's what
Well,
going really into it.
anyways, some of this stuff gets pretty personal.
It
So,
really is very personal.
but what I did want to do is I wanted to go back, right? If you go hit that back button, this will show you your total energy and where you are lacking, which chakras you are lacking in, right? Um, and then if you go back to the aura analysis results, then you can vibrate all these. We'll just do it for a minute. I actually usually do this. So this is what I do at nighttime. We've gone way off track on the question, right? So at nighttime, uh, before I go to bed, I will run my daughters for about 30 minutes. And then after that, I actually run my aura scan almost every single night for anywhere between the 27 minutes and 5 seconds to I'll do the 4 hours and 17 minutes sometimes, and
For
just let it.
soul?
No, for myself,
Yeah.
and I just
So you're
let
like
that.
sleeping and like regenerating your whole aura.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll do like a meditation before bed, and I'll turn this on while I'm doing it, and then I'll fall asleep after I'm done, and this is still running.
That's some double
Yeah,
dipping on the self-help there.
yeah, I'm hitting it hard.
Yeah.
So right now I'll just run it for the minute, and you guys can see what this looks like. So then, if you're see how it's scrolling, you're actually meant to kind of sit there and read each one, which I do as well, but obviously I'm not doing it for 4 hours. But just understanding each chakra and what the information that it's giving you at the time of the analysis, it's the awareness of it, right? It's just knowing, all right, these things need work, so put the intention out there of like resolving it, and then it's the affirmation here is I perceive my father as being at peace with himself and being above things. So you just kind of repeat those things to yourself, and it just brings you in the moment while this is scanning.
They're, to me, they almost feel like very specific prayers. I don't know if that resonates with some people out there, but a mantra or a prayer is something that we say over and over again to affirm to yourself and to the universe that this is what you want to happen, or this is how you want to feel, or you may be praying for somebody else. And one thing that I've learned over time is that in order for prayers to be effective, they have to be very specific. And so you have to use the very, very specific things that you're praying for, or saying to the universe or God, to get the result that you want. And I think these aura scans, they have the capability of knowing what's going on with your aura, your mental, your physical, and your emotional being, and the state that you're in, then gives you the very exact thing to say when you vibrate.
Mm.
And sometimes it's uncomfortable, sometimes it's very personal, but there's a reason. If you feel triggered, or if it feels personal, or it makes you sweat a little bit, or if it makes your butthole pucker, that's how that's how I think it's it's
Yeah,
like
there's that thing deep down that I've been kind of like not wanting to talk about. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I see that, and for that very reason, I do the aura scan maybe once or twice a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I always, it's easier for me to like get home from the gym and run the Healy as like regeneration, as
Mm,
opposed to like me getting deep and like really having to go in and just look at the things that I know I probably should do for
yeah.
my spiritual or emotional being. That being said, I still do it. It's just I have to be in the right frame of mind to go in and do that.
You should
Um,
try what I've been doing.
I
Just
think
do
that's
it
a
at
great.
nighttime.
I think that's a
But
great
but you
suggestion.
still have to kind of get into it a little. You got to read them and then
Yeah,
just look through them. But it only takes like a minute.
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I think some of the stuff that comes from the aura scan, some of those phrases, if they really resonate with me, I put it into the coaching program, and then
Hmm.
I do the coaching program to really hone in on that phrase.
Oh, you
And going,
copy and paste the phrase into the coaching program?
yeah,
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it becomes very specific. It's like, if there's something that really rings true that I know I need to work on, then I'll take that and I'll put it into the coaching program, and then take it next level and then run those and read those, and they always help. They really do.
Yeah.
They're relevant, and they give you a framework to work within. Their words, it's language, and it's giving you a reading, basically your energy reading, a very specific way, and then how to correct some of the things that may be holding you back. So there was an interesting thing that I think I brought this up before, but I ran into the coaching program because it showed in my aura scan that I have almost an aversion to being successful.
Hmm.
Which is,
Like self-sabotage type of thing, or
yeah, totally.
really?
So I think that comes in the form, knowingly for me, it was procrastination. It's like there's things that I know I could be doing and I'm not. So I'm procrastinating and I know I'm doing that. So that is a form of self sabotage. But it
Mm.
got even more specific when I put it into the coaching program. Um, I think the phrase was something like, uh, not I have a problem with being successful, but it was something like that.
You're
And
supposed to
then,
put in. You're supposed to put in like the positive affirmation, right? That you're gonna
right. It
get
was
what you
just
want to achieve, right?
correct. It was the desired state
Mm.
from the aura scan
Yeah.
about success. And so I put that in, and then it said that due to the guilt that I hold for leaving home,
Which is true.
which is really true, I have this guilt that I hold, like I left all my family members behind because I live in a different state.
Mm.
And even though I keep in touch with my family members and I talk to them, I still hold this energy of guilt for leaving. And so this
It called you out on that, right?
it's a cycle of then, well, I shouldn't chase after being as successful as I could be because I've left all these people
Mm.
behind. And it's a
Oh
thing.
wow.
I'm still working on it right now, but
You were
you know
aware of this prior to, though, right?
no.
Oh, you weren't.
I mean, it's a subconscious belief that
Mm.
I had in my body that I didn't realize I was carrying until I ran that scan. And
Oh
that was
shit.
all about the Healy, like discovering that this is the problem that I have with stepping into my full power and being the successful person that I want to be. It's this guilt that I hold of leaving people behind that are my family members.
Mm.
So yeah, it's I've vibrated it into my field. I've discovered that it is part of my subconscious belief system. But these are the kinds of things that the Healy can do. It's like
Yeah.
a fast track to a therapy session. How long would it
Right.
take in a therapy session to get to that point that,
Mhm.
oh, your your fear of success comes from the fact that you are feeling guilt
Yeah.
for leaving, you know what I mean?
Because
Like,
they'd have to figure out. They first off, they'd have to get family history, all this other stuff. It'd take hours and hours and hours, right?
right. And that was like a fast track situation. And Healy's telling me through the relevancy, the potency, that it was a negative one, meaning that it was in my subconscious, meaning that my subconscious mind is holding a belief that no longer serves me anymore. And in order to let that go, bringing it to the surface, becoming aware of it, allows me to then maybe use some of my mental processes to try and rid that emotional vibration out of my body.
Yeah. Yes.
And
The
then,
awareness. Once you're aware, then you can start doing something.
yeah. And
Mhm.
then it also, like, another thing that, to be all personal, is it came up that I have a subconscious belief that I still need to be in a survival mode from my teenage years. So the
Mm.
things that I learned in the world in how to survive, as in David Lawrence, as a person living in the world, in order to survive, I created a framework of, or or systems or beliefs that I thought that I needed to execute in order to survive in the world.
Mm,
And I think a lot of that is, my work ethic, my how I view money, how I think about money, that all these things it was telling me that are no longer relevant. So I need to
interesting.
mentally work it out of my system, figure out what that means. And, like that's when I write it down and then I kind of free write, journal about that shit, figure out what it is that's actually why it's coming to the surface, and then try and release that and get it out because Healy's saying it's no longer serving me. It's no longer needs to be part of my vibration. And, I'm willing to put in that work.
That's interesting. Do you think I'm going to relate this to like what we were talking about yesterday or the other day? Uh, do you think that that's got to do with like, because we were talking about the AI, and a couple of days ago, to be honest, right? Like the few days ago, you were actually anti AI, kind of, sort of,
Totally.
right?
100%.
And it just within a few days, you totally converted over because you did the research and you looked into it. But like prior to that, like you had this control thing, sort of almost, right, about the process. And I believe, like, I'm looking at this from an outside perspective now that you brought this up, and I'm like, maybe in the past, this work ethic of like just doing every little detail of every single thing so you have the knowledge base so you don't have to worry down the road of like somebody else like manipulating or something like that, like that is not useful in all arenas, right? So, and especially this one where I was talking to David, I was like trying to like be like, listen, like I get it that you want to understand all this stuff. He's like really diving into this like software and stuff like that, but I'm like, you also just found this AI software that does everything you're talking about. And unless you want to be an editor, the greatest video editor alive, there's no purpose in you putting all that energy into like understanding all these different softwares and stuff. Like, let's focus on what we really want to do, which is this.
Right. And that's exactly it. That control from me
The
comes from
survival.
the survival instinct that
It
I
worked
need.
in the past.
Yeah, I need to do everything on my own. I need to have control over it, and I need to understand it so that nobody can let me down, that, I all of those things.
Mm.
And if I let that go and then I just use this program instead, like I can't have full control over everything. I can't like it just no longer serves me.
There is use
So,
for that mindset though, like
of
initially
course.
to vet certain situations and programs even or softwares or whatever. Like yes, you have to put the work in at first, do the research, understand it, which you did,
Well,
and
this
now that you've done it.
Yeah, but this is very specific to me and my vibration and
Mm,
where I'm at in my life right now. You know what I mean? This only
yeah,
pertains to me, and that's what's so powerful about this device is that it can just do so much more than you could ever imagine,
yeah.
truly.
I
And
mean,
it's
you gotta give yourself some credit though. Like it's about you being open to all this as well, and like being self-aware and being open to the information that it's putting out to you and presenting to you, and you're saying, let me think a little bit deeper on this, instead of being like, fuck that, that's not me, you know.
correct.
And that's really the key, because this can give you all kinds of information, but if you don't believe it to be true, or you're not going to look into how this could be true within you, then it's not going to take you to where you want to go.
Correct. And I think that's what I've learned as I've grown older
Hmm.
and wiser is that the things that I am generally feeling a resistance to are the things that I should probably move towards
Oh my God,
and
that's
then move
same.
through.
Yeah.
The things that if you're feeling resistance towards talking about your feelings or your emotions or resistance towards AI or resistance towards vibration and energy in general, that very resistance is the key to possibly leveling up.
Mm. And if you're getting any kind of sense of this, if you're resonating with anything that we're talking about right now, I would suggest start doing 30-second cold showers every day, because that is like you're breaking this resistance barrier where it's like something nobody fucking wants to do that shit, right? And if you can just do that for a couple weeks in a row, right? Then what else can you do? You know?
Yeah,
Then you start thinking deeper about yourself and what barriers you're trying to overcome. And it takes time, but like I said, like it's the laying the bricks, that's part of it.
right.
There's so many different like bricks
Tools,
we're laying in our
right?
lives, and it is very difficult to pay attention to all of them. And this is another reason why, for me, like TV and any kind of drugs and like chemicals and all this other stuff, I try to avoid it because I'm fully focused on all of my bricks I'm laying. Like I cannot be distracted because it's not, if I'm looking outside, which I still do. I watch movies every once in a while, but for me it's like that's an hour or 2 hours of my life where I purposely decide to check out, right? But that's like a couple times a week. Anyways, uh, no, I do want to say that, getting back to what your information that you found out through the Healy is like, I mean, imagine if you weren't open to that, and me and you are technically, we're in a business together now, right? Basically, we're partners, right? So if you continued that, it might cause tension between us because you want to be in control of whatever, for whatever deep reasons that have nothing to do with any kind of business stuff or efficiency or anything to do with me and you or anything.
Right.
But because you were decided to, or maybe you were just unaware of it and weren't willing to be open to other ways, this whole thing could just fall apart.
Well,
That's
and
why I
let's
love you, man, because you're down for that. And within a few days, the whole thing just like turns around, and we're talking about how great AI is. You know?
well, here's the thing though. You just it, those particular things were in my subconscious, meaning it was something I was unaware was in my field completely.
Hmm.
There's so many things that we go through our day, and we're just doing what we do, being the people that we created. Our personality is who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't realize that all the things that make up our personality, they are beliefs that we have about ourselves, about the world, about how things work, and they are based off of the experiences that we've had in life. And yes, they are valid and they have got us to where we are right now, but not everything we still need. And that was a very interesting thing for Healy to point out, that there are these subconscious beliefs that I have about success in myself in particular and how I view the world. And these beliefs are in my subconscious that are affecting where I want to go today. So by bringing that to the surface into my conscious field, I can then process it in the time that I need to then allow that. At least I'm now conscious of it. Like you said, when things like that come up, I'm like, it's coming from this subconscious
You can
belief that I
pinpoint
have.
it now.
Yeah, it's not like I'm a computer and I can just like
Yeah,
whoop, okay, now that's gone
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
vibrated it once with Healy. It's like something you got to keep up on and work through.
Hmm.
But going back to the cold showers from the outside are just cold showers. But when you really break it down, it's what's called a pattern interrupt. So in your day, in your personality and the things that you've done, you've created a morning routine and how you go through your day possibly, and then you go to sleep and then you kind of repeat that. If you can create something in your day that's a pattern interrupt, it makes you look at your whole life completely differently. And a cold shower can be the beginning to that.
Mm,
Just by taking a cold shower, it's something that's uncomfortable. It's something that we don't really want to do. It's not something that we have to do, but it creates a pattern interrupt, something that creates a little bit of uncomfortability to then, like you said, say, if I can get through this little cold shower in my day, everything else that seems a little bit dramatic, maybe a little less now because
mm,
I've done something that's kind of, hard, difficult.
right. Yeah, definitely doing difficult things is there's something to it. It's like the key to life, you know? And
You
then
discover who you are through that, right?
yeah, I'm totally with you about like whenever have that feeling inside of like, "Oh, I don't really want to do that." I have this other thing that pops up
Yeah.
that says, "Fuck you, bitch. This is where you gotta go."
Yeah.
And I might not do it right away, but it's constantly saying it every time it comes up, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then once I do it, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Keep chipping forward.
Yeah. And like the first time I did a cold shower, I remember being like so dramatic about it,
Mm,
like, like, oh, you're like in the shower, oh, like making noises and shit. Melissa would be like cackling because I'd be like so dramatic about it. And then after like the fifth or sixth time,
yeah,
I was just like, you just get in the cold water, no drama. You let it hit you. It's gonna fucking be like, whoa, but you just kind of
mm,
like breathe through it and you just breathe through it and then you get used to it. And you're like, it's actually not that bad. And then you can like lather up in it. You can like do stuff in it. And you're like, granted,
well, you're in Florida, so yeah,
I've only done
it's
really
like
a
degrees.
few of the freezing cold showers in Washington, but it still was cold enough in Florida to create the discomfort that made me feel like
Yeah,
I did something and I've overcome it and it's only the morning,
yeah.
you know?
Yep. Hey, I gotta get going here, but
Yeah, me too.
once again, obviously, I wish we could just keep going forever. Because I feel like our conversation is getting better as this podcast is going on. Like I'm like getting more and more into it.
Yeah, I mean it's getting deep. I hope people are feeling the
Yeah.
frequencies.
So the moral of the story is look into AI, don't be scared, and take care of yourself. Push yourself.
Amen.
Be aware.
Pattern
Self-awareness.
interrupt.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
If you want to know more about Healy, DM us. We're more than happy to have a one-on-one or talk with you about it. It's some next level shit, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. There also is a link in the bio or underneath or whatever platform you're on. It's somewhere. Click on the link and you can find out
Yep.
more.
Hit us up.
All right.
Peace, brother.